What if the 7 days of creation weren't the absolute beginning? What if the world we know was not God's first masterpiece, but a restoration after a cosmic catastrophe? The opening lines of Genesis tell us, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." But in the very next verse, something strange appears, a hint that the story may not begin where we think it does. Genesis 1:2 says, "And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep." How could a perfect creator begin with a world shrouded in chaos, darkness, and desolation? Some theologians believe that within this single verse lies a hidden chapter, a forgotten age that existed long before Adam ever walked the earth. Today, we explore that mystery, the world before Adam and the fall of the greatest being ever created, Lucifer.
Hello, and welcome to Bible Faith Tales. If you're looking to understand the Bible's most powerful stories and draw daily inspiration from ancient wisdom, you've come to the right place. Subscribe and let's uncover these tales together.
Let's begin where the mystery begins, with the text itself. Genesis 1:1 declares, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." A simple, majestic statement. But the verse that follows changes everything. "And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep." In Hebrew, this phrase, "without form and void," is tohu wabohu. It doesn't simply mean empty. It conveys chaos, ruin, and desolation. A phrase used elsewhere in Scripture to describe judgment and destruction, not the birth of beauty. And then there's the verb hayeta, translated was. Some scholars argue it could also mean became. If that's true, the verse could read, "The earth became without form and void." Not created that way, but transformed from a prior perfect state into chaos. But this leads us to a profound question. Why would a perfect God create a world that began in darkness and disorder? Or did something happen, something cataclysmic, between verses 1 and 2? This idea forms the foundation of what theologians call the gap theory, or the restoration theory. According to this interpretation, there is a vast, undefined span of time, a gap between Genesis 1:1 and Genesis 1:2. In that gap, a world existed, a perfect creation under divine order. Then came rebellion, judgment, destruction. The timeline unfolds like this. First, there's Genesis 1:1, the original creation. Second is Genesis 1:2, the cataclysm and ruin that left the earth desolate. And third is Genesis 1:3 onward, the 6 days of restoration, when God brings order and light back to a shattered world. In this view, Genesis does not describe the beginning of all things, but rather the beginning of the present world, a renewal following an ancient fall. But what could have caused such destruction? What could have turned a perfect creation into a wasteland of darkness? The prophets Isaiah and Ezekiel speak of one being whose pride shattered heaven's harmony, a being of unmatched beauty, wisdom, and authority. Isaiah 14:12-15 declares, "How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will be like the Most High." Lucifer, the shining one, the morning star, the anointed cherub. Ezekiel 28 adds another layer. "You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. You were blameless in your ways from the day you were created until unrighteousness was found in you." Before his fall, Lucifer was not merely an angel,
He was a ruler. Many theologians suggest that he was given dominion over the pre-Adamic earth, a glorious creation filled with divine order and splendor. But pride corrupted him. He desired not just authority, but equality with God. His rebellion shattered heaven's peace and spread ruin across his realm. And when Lucifer fell, the world under his authority fell with him. If Lucifer ruled a world before Adam, his rebellion would have brought both spiritual and physical consequences. God's judgment may have extended beyond the heavenly realm, striking the earth itself. The result? A planet once radiant became desolate. Light was extinguished. Waters engulfed the surface, and darkness covered the deep. Genesis 1:2 now takes on new meaning, and the earth became without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. The earth judged, drowned, and left in silence. Some interpreters even connect this event with the fossil record, vast layers of rock and remnants of ancient life buried in sudden catastrophe. They suggest these may not belong to the world of Adam, but to that forgotten world before him, the remnants of an age erased by divine judgment. Whether symbolic or literal, the picture is powerful. Sin brought devastation. Pride turned paradise into chaos. But the story does not end in darkness. Out of ruin, God speaks once again, and God said, "Let there be light." The 6 days of creation, in this view, were not the creation of something from nothing, but the restoration of order to a world that had fallen into chaos. God separates the waters. He restores the land. He brings forth new life, and at last, he creates mankind, not from the dust of a newly made planet, but upon the soil of a redeemed one. This reframes the opening of Genesis not as the first act of creation, but as a divine act of mercy, a God who rebuilds what was broken, who brings light where darkness once ruled. So the story unfolds like this: a perfect original creation, a glorious angel given authority, a rebellion in heaven, a judgment that left the earth desolate and void, and a divine restoration, the world made new for humanity. It is a cosmic narrative of beauty, pride, ruin, and redemption. A story that begins not in Eden, but in eternity, where a radiant being's fall set the stage for the greatest drama of all, the conflict between light and darkness, obedience and pride, God and the adversary. And perhaps when the serpent entered the garden to tempt mankind, he was not trespassing in a foreign place, but returning to the domain he once ruled, a garden built upon the ashes of his own lost kingdom. In the beginning, God created, and ever since, he has been restoring.